Video takes you through all you need to know to use the NHS Sussex Digital Exclusion Baseline. The baseline was developed by the digital team to give a good understanding of digital exclusion in Sussex, and it's intended for Sussex Integrated Care System partners. We recommend always accessing the baseline via the Population Health Academy or the NHS Sussex intranet site so that you always access the most recent version. We're currently using version 1.6. When opening the baseline, you'll notice a yellow bar at the top stating that you're in protected view. To be able to use the filters, you must enable editing, so click on Enable Editing box to get started. The baseline is presented in an Excel spreadsheet, so you navigate using the tabs at the bottom of the page. The Guide tab gives you information about digital exclusion and how to use and navigate around the dashboard. Refer back to this tab at any point you're using the dashboard to help you find the information you need. The first section, the Introduction and Background, gives information about digital exclusion, what it is and what groups can be affected. These groups have become our proxy indicators, so these groups here. The section, How to Use and Navigate around the dashboard, has full information on how to use the filters and the links. There is also information about how to interpret the numbers and the limitations of the data. It's really important to emphasise that digital exclusion is fluid. People can be excluded at any point in their lives due to external influences such as the cost of living crisis or new digital tools introduced that are hard to get to grips with. We've used proxy indicators in this dashboard based on digital exclusion research, and these indicators make digital exclusion more likely but not a given. However, it's useful to know the demographics of your local community and therefore be able to tailor any digital inclusion support. Finally, much of the data in this dashboard is taken from the 2021 census, and so will give an understanding of the local area, but not the complete picture. So please also use local knowledge. The second tab, Data and Calculations, gives a list of the data sources and information about how the dashboard has been built and the calculations used. The section, Specific Data Points, gives information about how the scores and rankings were calculated. The third tab, Summary, combines all the digital exclusion proxy indicators into one report. This gives an overview of the likelihood of digital exclusion in Sussex. The information is presented as a radar chart, so you can easily see the digital exclusion risk for all the different indicators. The lower the score, the further from the centre of the chart, the higher the risk of digital exclusion. So here we can see that Crawley has a high number of people who cannot speak English, who have a poor level of English, meaning these people are more likely to be digitally excluded from using digital healthcare tools. And Rother has a high population of people aged 65 and over. Generally speaking, older people are more likely to lack the digital skills, motivation and trust to use digital healthcare tools. The dashboard defaults to show all of Sussex. However, you can break this down into different areas should you want to look in more detail. Over to the right of the dashboard, you'll see a series of buttons. These are split out into region, integrated care team, PCN, local authority, ward and rurality. These are the filters. You can select any of these filters to refine the information for your area. Simply click on the button or filter required and you will see the radar chart on the left display the information for that area under region. In this demonstration, I want to see all the data for East Sussex, so I click on the East Sussex button under region, and the data for West Sussex, Brighton and Hove is removed. To remove this filter, click on the clear filter button, so that's the one with the small red X next to it. If you want to see data for a specific PCN, scroll down to the PCN filters and select the one you want. You'll notice that doing this also shows you which region, ICT area and ward that the PCN is within on the right hand side. If you hover over the line on the chart, you can see the detail. For example, in this PCN, there are a high number of people who can't speak English at all or well, and many people in social grades D and E. Unemployment is high, many people over the age of 65. You can click through the filters and see the indicators change. Again, to clear filters, click on the small red X and you'll be taken back to the main screen. If at any point you're unsure about which area you're looking at, the filter buttons are blue if showing data for that area and white if they're deselected and not showing data for the area. So for example, what's on my screen at the moment is showing information for the PCN Deans and Central Brighton. And I want to remove it, I click on the small red X. If you want to select more than one area, navigate over to the filters and start by selecting the first area. So in this demo, I want to see data for 3 different ICTs, Brighton East, Hastings and Rother. First, select Brighton East by clicking on the filter. You'll see that it turns blue and all the other filters turn white, so they are deselected. And the radar chart over on the left just shows information for that one area. Next, click on the multi-select button. That's the one with the 3 ticks at the top of the section. This will have a light grey box around it when it's selected. Next, scroll down through the ICT filters to find the others that you want and click on them. Hastings ICT and Rother ICT. The ones you want will turn blue, display on the radar chart, and all the others in the ICT box will stay white. The other filter boxes will have blue filters depending on the areas that you have selected. On the radar chart, the areas are colour-coded and you can hover over the lines to see more detail. To clear any selection, click the red X as before. Page, you can also move around the rest of the dashboard. The links in blue show the lowest 10 wards for each digital exclusion indicator, and the deep dives here take you through to a deep dive into each indicator, so that's the same as the tabs across the bottom. If you select any of the filters, these will remain throughout the rest of the dashboard until you can clear the filter. For example, selecting East Sussex region in the summary page means that the data for this section is shown for the rest of the tabs in the dashboard. Moving through the dashboard, the tabs PCN Insights and PCN Insights Detailed show you the data compared to the rest of Sussex. The dashboard works in the same way. You select the area or the areas that you want to see, and the data will adjust in the report. So for this particular area, data is shown as red if it is below the Sussex average, or green if it is higher than the Sussex average. So for East and Central Brighton, I can see that there are more people than the Sussex average that are economically inactive, and there are also more people whose first language is not English than the Sussex average. If I click on the PCN Insights Detailed tab, this shows me how this breaks down. So for example, with the unemployment indicator, the top one, it shows me that 43.5% people in this area are economically inactive, and I can see that 5.5% of these are unemployed, 12.7% are retired, 13.2% are economically inactive because they're students. So for example, you carry on like this, and if you scroll down the page, you can see this information for each indicator. If you click through the rest of the tabs in the report, you can see the detailed breakdown of each indicator. Remember that you can look at any particular area that you want to by clicking on the filters at the top, and you can clear your filters at any point using the red X and select different areas. Once you've finished with the baseline, click on X as you would ordinarily to close as usual, and then click Don't Save Changes. Hopefully this helps you navigate around the dashboard and better understand your local population. Used alongside the NHS Sussex Digital Inclusion Framework, this should give a good understanding of how you can support local people to use digital healthcare tools and services.